Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just going to show you how I do these Goldie Locs traditional sew-in. I'm going to start with a basic braid pattern with leave out, braids going straight down to the side and to the back. I always start at the left bottom of my client's head and I just begin to sew in. Most people do the under the tracks method. I go through the tracks for my first track and as well as some points throughout me sewing in. It gives me a better secureness when I'm sewing. There, I'm just going through the tracks and then I wrap the thread around the needle maybe once or twice and then I just pull it through. And I always flip over, like I don't cut the tracks. These are reused bundles that has been dyed. Well, I bleached it to get the Goldilocks color, to get the gold color. I don't know why I keep saying Goldilocks, but to get that gold color, I bleached it and added some dye to it, a door dye and another type of dye, but I can't remember it right now. And I'm just tying off my ends because I finished my first needle. And when I start my second needles, I always go before the knot where I ended the last needle off, just in case that decides that it wants to unravel. It'll have. And like I told y'all before, I do the flip over track, double track. Whenever I get to the end of that braid, I just flip it over. I don't cut it because I don't want shedding. I want to minimize the amount of shedding that I'm going to have. And sometimes when I come to the end of a double track, I will lay one track at a time, like separated from each other, like one above the other rather than together. That way it can lay flatter when it comes to the end where the knots are going to be at. And now I'm just going to start that next track, starting back at the left or wherever you end that last track off. And since I ended this last track off on the edge of the braid, I'm just starting from the beginning spot, which is the left side of the client's head, and I'll just wrap the tracks in a back and forth motion.
race. I need that black card in the code to the safe.
And when I do flip the track over, I always flip just one piece of the track instead of how I have it doubled right there. I always just flip that one track over first, and then following that part of the track, then I add them together, and then I start doubling, just like how you see right there. That way it's just flat. You want your sewing to be flat. You don't want it to be all bulky and stuff. Now we're getting closer to the end. I skipped through the video because it doesn't make no sense to just have all of that in it. But we're getting close to the end, and as you can see, now I have a whole lot of different pieces to add to her on top of her head, because she did cut some of the tracks for the last install that this hair was. Yeah, she cut some of the tracks for more fullness. So I had to use the different pieces to add to the top of her hair rather than just having a whole track. But it's still the same process. And up here I'm singling them. Sometimes I do double them up, but in this case a lot of the tracks are cut up, and it may look like you can see directly through her tracks right there in the back side, but you can't. The top of her bundles are dyed black, but well, they weren't black, they were brownish colored, so it just looks like hair, or it looks like it could be her scalp. But as I was saying, it's not her scalp, and it's not her braid showing through. The top of her bundles are brownish colored. And I'm making sure I actually tie these knots and such whenever I pull it through the track, tight, but not extremely tight where it's ripping her hair out. But I want to make sure it's secure.
Kissing in a wave. I need that black card in the code to the safe. Code to the safe. Code to the safe. I show them how to network. For that Netflix and chill. What's your net worth?
I think this is actually the last track that I'm going to be putting into her head. I'm not too sure, but I believe this is the last piece of track that I'm going to put into her hair. No, it's not. This is the last piece for this side. I have to put another couple pieces on the other side, I think. But I'm just going to do that flip over once more, just to go ahead on and lay that flat up against her leave out. I want to get the stitch as close to her leave out as possible. And when I stitch it this way, I don't stitch it on the loose hairs. I make sure I braid from the tip of the scalp to the bottom, but I'm not placing it on her on the loose hairs from her braid. It's actually going into the track that's under it and into the braid that's that has the track stitched to it under this track, so that I can get it close to the leave out scalp part as possible, and to make sure that I don't snatch out her natural hair. Yeah, so like I was saying, I did have to put in another track or two, not sure, pieces on the other side. As you see how small that piece is there, I had a whole lot of pieces just like that. I believe she used this hair twice before this. I colored it. It came natural black, and then I colored it one time, and it was like a reddish color, and then I colored it. Well, I bleached it here. So that's 3 times she used it. I think that's it for the tracks. Again, I just make sure that if there's no part sticking down. As you see, the top of her hair, her bundles are black, as I just went through to make sure I couldn't see any of her braids. I'm just combing through it to make sure it's all detangled. But yeah, this is how my stitch game looks. It goes all the way up to the leave out, except for that little part in the back, but oh well, that's going to be covered. And I'm making sure that none of her hair is going to be sticking on the sides. And right here, all I'm doing is just unraveling that braid that I had tying her leave out up. And I'm just going to go ahead on and secure her part wherever she wants it. And she wanted a middle part with this style. She didn't want too much heat on her hair, so most of her hair is going to be just straightened. I'm going to insert a picture here shortly to show what it looks like in the end. Okay, this is what it looked like in the end. It's very pretty, Goldilocks style. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.